Hey y'all, how you doing again? Okay, so I've made some notes here on on the founding of this nation and about the framers of the founding framers and whatnot. And so I'm going to this is kind of my deep dive research that I've done, things that I wasn't taught when I was young, and I'm sure that you probably weren't taught when you were young. So I'm going to go through some of these things here, and we're going to just kind of read from what my notes here that I put together, and it's going to be done in several parts. The founding, and of course, please subscribe to this channel. I want to grow this channel. I want to hope my ambition is to educate people on the things that I was not educated on, and to get an understanding of what our responsibility, who we are, and what our responsibilities are in this country, and are to ourselves and to our God. And so let's get into it, if you will. The founding framers were they were a group of white men. They were all Western European descent, namely English. 48 of whom were born in America. Two were born in England, two in Ireland, two in Scotland, one in Northern Ireland, and one in Wales. As far as their religions are concerned, only three of the framers were of Roman Catholic heritage, 28 were Anglicans, Church of England or Episcopalian, and 21 were either Protestants, were other Protestants. Among the Protestant framers to the Constitutional Convention, 8 were Presbyterians, 7 were Congregationalists, 2 were Lutherans, 2 were Dutch Reformed, and 2 were Methodists. Now, had the framers had this number been reversed, then this would not have been a Protestant nation. This would have been a Catholic nation. Roman Catholic is quite apparent that it's quite apparent though that Roman Catholics were detested within the colonies. In fact, one of the topics of the First Continental Congress had to do with Suffolk County, Massachusetts, who lost their shit over what was known as the Quebec Act. And that was a liberal act by Parliament that removed religious and liturgical restrictions on French Roman Catholics living in Quebec. And Protestants despised Roman Catholics. It's so much so that this is a quote from that First Continental Congress, that the late act of Parliament for establishing the Roman Catholic religion and the French laws in that extensive country, now called Canada, is dangerous in an extreme degree to the Protestant religion and to the civil rights and liberties of all Americans. And therefore, as men and Protestant Christians, we are indispensably obliged to take all proper measures for our security. Catholics weren't wanted here. They weren't wanted at all. And as a matter of fact, a resolution of unanimous backing of the New England colonies and widespread support for New York and Virginia delegates was adopted by the First Continental Congress on October 21st of 1774. And it claimed that the Quebec Act was designed to put, quote, in the hands of power to reduce the ancient free Protestant colonies to slavery. Nor can we suppress our astonishment that a British Parliament should ever consent to establish in that country a religion that has deluged your island with blood and dispersed impiety, bigotry, persecution, murder, and rebellion through every part of the world. That's pretty harsh words. Some really harsh words against the Catholic Church. Now, it must be remembered that for centuries, Western Europe was ruled by the corporate structure and rules and laws of the Roman Catholic Church. It was a monopoly that was broken by Martin Luther's Reformation, and then more prominent with King Henry VIII, whose break with the Roman Catholic Church, and in 1534, establishing the First Act of Supremacy, was passed by the Parliament that gave King Henry and all subsequent monarchs royal supremacy, and declared him or her the supreme head of the Church of England. Now, royal supremacy meant that the king had legal sovereignty of the civil laws over and above the laws of the church. The law further declared that the king was, quote, the only supreme head on earth of the Church of England, and stated that the crown shall enjoy all honors, dignities, preeminence, jurisdiction, privileges, authorities, immunities, profits, and commodities to said dignity, with full power and authority from time to time to visit, repress, redress, reform, order, correct, restrain, and amend all such errors, heresies, abuses, offenses, contempt, enormities whatsoever they be, which by any manner of spiritual authority or jurisdiction ought or may be lawfully reformed. Now, the bishops were made, the Catholic bishops were made to sue out their faculties from the king. The very form of the license granted them affirmed that the crown was the source of their jurisdiction. Quote, seeing that all authority of jurisdiction and indeed jurisdiction of all kinds, both that which is called ecclesiastical and that which is secular, is originally derived from the royal power as the supreme head and the foundation and source of magistracy within our kingdom. And this was and then in 1537, the Irish Supremacy Act was passed by the Parliament of Ireland. And that act established that Henry VIII as the supreme head of the Church of Ireland. Thus began several centuries of Catholic persecution in England. Now, under the common law of England, corporations depend for their existence upon a charter granted by the king. This is of particular interest to us as Americans with concern to corporations created by letters patent from the King of England to the London Company, under which the original settlements of New England coast were made, and the charter of the Virginia Company, under which the shores of Virginia were first colonized by the English settlers. The letters patent issued by King James on April 10th of 1606, for instance, provides that English colonists and their posterity, quote, shall have and enjoy all liberties, franchises, and immunities within any of our other dominions, to all intents and purposes, as if they had been law-abiding and born within our realm of England or any of our other said dominions. English charters and letters patent established infrastructure, civil authority, judicial system, which brings with it the Church of England, Anglicanism. It was the 18th century Europe's Enlightenment and the Age of Reason that the founding fathers looked to informing this nation. A philosophical movement and idea that reason is the primary source of authority and legitimacy. This movement advocated such ideals as liberty, progress, tolerance, fraternity, constitutional government, and a separation of church and state. The Enlightenment was marked by an emphasis on scientific methods and a skepticism of religious orthodoxy. What we're seeing here is that this nation wasn't formed upon Catholicism, but it was formed upon the Age of Enlightenment, upon scientific reasoning. And we'll go into depth on this in the next episode, shall we say, because I want to keep these short. So thank you for joining this one. Please stay tuned. Please subscribe and learn as I have the history that we didn't know about this country, and as this thing grows into what our responsibilities are, and responsibilities that we've shirked ourselves. So we do have a responsibility. We can't blame everything on the government. We have a role in this, and we have shirked our role because of our ignorance of the things that we do not know. So please stay tuned. Please join me. Please subscribe. Thank you, and I'll come back with another one here shortly. Thank you.